6 ways to think about selling your fintech solution in 2026. As we head into this new marketplace and this new year, there are things happening in the banking space that we absolutely cannot ignore. There are topics that are hot and front and center in trade publications, stable coins, identity, cross border payments, embedded, which is an area I speak about as well. These are all topics that bankers are going to be focused on, or at least exploring and paying attention to in 2026. And that's above and beyond all of the other stuff, the core migrations, the switch out of digital banking systems, putting in a new origination system. Our focus as fintech individuals selling to these bankers in 2026 is to figure out whether we are the priority or can be the priority. And if not, how we ride alongside of those aspects right now that currently are their priority. That's my first tip for you. Either become the priority or figure out how your solution can ride right alongside of stablecoins, identity, that core migration, and see if you can create a case study or a working scenario with the bankers that you're speaking with that makes sense. The answer isn't always, okay, we'll reach back out after you've had a chance to finish your core migration. Well, sometimes that's the easy answer. That's absolutely the default answer for both sides. But I'd like to encourage you to think through other possibilities that you could begin exploring with bankers. Things like, I appreciate that you're still right in the mix of this core migration. I'm curious, been thinking through some ways that we might be able to help that core migration move along quicker or help make you more productive once that migration lands. Would it be worthwhile for us to sit down and for me to take you through my thoughts on this topic? Now, the banker can always say no. Of course they can, and perhaps they should. But if you at least put some forethought into this and some planning, and help them see a path that you're thinking through, it does enable you to at least hit the ground running when they are ready for those discussions. And I guarantee you, those bankers may surprise you because they are just as interested to pass something like a core migration as you are for them too. So help them do that with this first tip. Now, my second tip for you is a bit different. And this second tip, I want us to begin to thinking in terms of current and future states. And I want to give Johnson Financial Group a complete credit for the way in which I approach this now. I once was involved in an engagement with that group, and they had mapped out beautifully their current state. And they asked each vendor participating in an evaluation to help map a future state. Since that time, I always think in terms of current state and future state. And I would also like to encourage you to do the same. Help these bankers think in terms of where they are now and where they want to go and how your solution gets them from point A to point B. Connect those dots for them. And ideally, even do that graphically. Use slides, use graphics to help paint the picture that can then be shared internally within the bank when they're ready. Now, moving into the third tip for you, I'd like you to map out the buying journey or what we might call the sales process and use it in almost every single discussion that you will have with these bankers. Why? It keeps us all accountable for one thing. It showcases you as the professional in the fintech space and it guides the discussion. It progresses the deal forward. Think about it like this. It is not the banker's job to tell you what their process is. It is not the banker's job to get back to you or guide the next meeting steps. That is firmly in your court to do. So, why don't you do it with a plan that showcases that you do this often? You work with bankers like them often. And here is what the happy path in your process looks like. Step one is this. Here's where we are. Our next step, which we kick off typically in a period of 2 weeks, looks like this. In that conversation, we invite not only you and individuals from your team, but we like to expand the buying committee members or others in the audience to include the CFO, the CRO, or whomever is responsible for being involved in your decision. When you showcase that thought leadership and you use that as the North Star in every discussion, there's no question about what's next. There's no question about what we should be doing when we next get together. Everyone's on the same page in that regard. Now, this next one here is not new, but it's underutilized, and it's a business case tool. Whether you craft a business case using something like a Google Doc, whether you use one of the tools that are available to us out in the industry, of which I have some favorites and I can share with you if you're interested, you need something, some living document that you use to guide the dialogue with the bankers with which you're interacting. You are the professional. They are not professionals at buying your specific solution, but you are the professional at selling your solution and making your solution available to bankers like them. So, by all means, make it easier for these bankers. Help them buy your solution, help them showcase your solution more effectively internally in meetings. If you do choose to use a business case tool, you can even begin to track who's viewing that, where they're spending it, and you get more control over how you are represented within an organization. So don't sleep on this one. Really take a look at those business case tools. Or if the investment is not possible for you at this point in 2025, as we move into 2026, no worries. Craft something very impactful with a Google Doc or some other type of shared document feature, okay? Now, the next one here, I'd like you to give some thought to. This is an area that I have been exploring quite a bit. The sales playbook, my sales process, my own methodologies, and turning those into a GPT. If you do something like this for your team, you're making everyone more effective. You can build in your process, frequently asked questions, your discovery documents, other types of elements you often hear when, I don't know, somebody's asking you a question about legal documents. Or perhaps if you have RFI questions that you fill out and answers, corresponding answers, like a knowledge base. Anything and everything that you may encounter as part of a sales discussion or a journey, I would encourage you to craft inside a GPT that you and your teams can then use to position yourselves effectively and consistently as you work from institution to institution. Now, even though I'm talking about using AI and a GPT internally here, I cannot stress this enough. As we move into 2026 and beyond, avoid using AI as a differentiator. Folks, it is not. AI is assumed by every banker out there that's reviewing technology today. So don't make it a selling case. Don't make it a value proposition. Make it also an assumed part of your product. Instead, lead with their problems in their current state. Showcase how your solution helps them solve those problems and helps them get to that future state. And you can use the AI discussion as a supporting mechanism to do that. Now, as I promised, here's a bonus, and it's one no one's going to want to hear. And it leans into this fact that as a founder of a company, there's a certain amount of benefit that comes and can be derived when you lead the brand. When you show up consistently on LinkedIn, when you show up consistently at events, when you are being quoted in articles that bankers read. Guess what? Nobody likes it. Nobody is clamoring to get in front of the camera. It's not comfortable. There's nothing about this that's natural, but it is necessary if you want people to think about you, your product, when they're making a decision relative to your solution. So, my advice, to the degree that you can, lean into the discomfort because people are going to buy you well before they purchase your product. And those are my 6 tips plus a bonus for selling your fintech solution in the year 2026. Be safe out there, everyone. Good luck and have a successful year.